Welcome to another episode of the Pineapple Perspective. I'm your host, Troy Hooper. These are sponsored by Pepper Lunch Restaurants, pepperlunchrestaurants.com/franchise. If you're a multi-unit franchise operator in the industry, we'd love to show you all the amazing advantages that Pepper Lunch has to offer as a business investment opportunity. Today, again, as I always say, I'm just absolutely blessed. I'm absolutely humbled that I get the chance to have conversations with some of the industry's top names, biggest icons and leaders in the space. I don't use those words lightly because this guest is all of those and more. Welcome, Carin Stutz, to the Pineapple Perspective.
Hey, Troy, thanks for having me. What a joy. I've been listening to you for years. I only see you probably a couple of times a year, but every time when I see you at a conference, I always seek you out. You've always got some words of wisdom, and you're just one of the kindest people in the industry.
You're
So
too
this is
sweet.
a
Too
pleasure.
sweet, Carin. Look, you're the kindest person in the industry, right next to Amy Hom, who you tend to be twinsies with at these conferences. Any chance I get to sit at a table during a session, or definitely grab a drink or go to dinner with you guys, I eat it up because your conversations around the human side of this industry are really important. Both you and Amy focus on culture and people and doing the right thing and taking care of our staff and training them. And that we'll talk a little bit about that because I know that's a passion of yours and educating the staff and the leadership of this industry. So yeah, again, just absolutely love to be in the same room and learn from truly icons like you. We'll get into your bio and history. I'm not hyperbolic here. This lady's done a whole lot of things that any one of us would be very, very proud to have accomplished in our career. But Carin, we open the show every time with the guest having the very first question right out of the gate. What does hospitality mean to you?
Well, I tell you, I listen to everybody say it on your various podcasts, and I think they're all right. It's so simple to me. It's just the love and the passion that we put into making someone's day, right? It's this genuine connection that we can foster with our team members, with our guests, with anyone that goes way beyond service, right? That's kind of how I look at it. I think with those of us who've been in the restaurant business for a long time, Troy, we can identify hospitality the minute, maybe the second that we walk into a restaurant. You either know that it's right and it's going to be a great experience. Never underestimate that first impression that's going to define the entire experience around hospitality.
Does the person greeting you, no matter who they are they really actually genuinely happy and glad you're there, right? And can you
Yes.
tell the difference between a fake smile and a real smile, if you get a smile at all? But absolutely, I concur with that completely. Carin, do us a favor. I won't let you hide under a rock here. So if you don't cover it well enough, I will make you bashful. But please tell our audience, who are you and where have you come from? Tell us a little bit about what you've done in this industry over like what the last 6, 7 years you've been doing this. Go ahead.
Yeah. Maybe, gosh, I know. I can't believe I'm like at retirement age. I guess the first thing I would say to anybody is it goes by in the blink of an eye, 5 decades. And it feels like just yesterday that I started. I could simply say I probably followed the growth. I started out in quick service, had a nice career with Wendy's. I started at McDonald's actually in high school and college. From there, went to casual dining. So went to Applebee's as the SVP of operations and then moved up to the EVP COO role, overseeing almost 2,000 restaurants there. Had the pleasure of being the global business leader for Brinker, which is Chili's, Maggiano's today, and overseeing everything outside of the United States. Wow, what a learning experience that was. And then I moved into fast casual with whether McAllister's, President McAllister's, then CEO of Native Foods, CEO of Cozy, and CEO of Red Robin. So that gives you kind of an idea. It's interesting. I'm part of the Illinois Restaurant Association now, which is like all of the cool independent restaurants in downtown Chicago and throughout Illinois. But I'm kind of the anomaly of the big chain girl, and I couldn't be more proud of the work that we do in chain restaurants.
That yeah, let's. I'm just gonna recap for everybody. COO Applebee's, okay. President or COO Red Robin, Brinker on the international side of taking Brinker overseas. I was just at the Global Restaurant Conference and the CEO of Brinker was there and was talking about his overseas business. And Carin is the catalyst of those things. So Absolutely thrilled to have you, Karen. Really excited to get into a conversation. The beautiful thing about this conversation, it's not planned. I have no questions on a screen. We did not rehearse this
So
whatsoever. We're just a couple of industry people that want to chop it up about what's going on and what matters in the industry. So, Karen, today, you're not in those executive roles. You have quote, let's go air quotes, retired from that side of life, but you're doing a lot of other things. You're doing board work and you're doing consulting and you're doing leadership development. You still involved in the education side of the industry through the university. So you have a lot going on. And I like how people say we're retired. You're probably busier now than you ever were. And you're still showing up and you're on stage and you're leading in this industry. Tell me what's on your mind from your position looking at this industry from your seat today, given that legacy experience that you have and that global experience that you have. What is standing out? What's catching your attention? What's on your mind?
there's a lot of things I think as you reflect back over a career. First of all, I don't have any regrets of anything that I did, but looking back, you always do some self reflection and say, what would I have done differently? And probably, I'm just going a whole different direction here. As I look back at my career, I would have probably been more challenging with marketing. It's like it's real. I can hold handle.
As the operations person.
I know. I
Big
can hold
shot, Karen.
Yeah,
The
I know.
COO.
Operations, I mean, it just comes naturally to me. A day in a restaurant is just a fantastic day, no matter what. And but I think I was often guilty. It's like, when you're working a restaurant and you're not comfortable behind the bar, you let the bartender get away with a little more than they should, maybe. I feel like over my career, I probably let marketing get away with more than they should. They're so responsible and accountable for that top line. So I guess that would be my words of wisdom. First of all, is for those of us who move up from an operations perspective, pay more attention and hold marketing teams accountable for real results. And I think that's really important. You're ultimately judged by traffic, right? And same store sales, running a public company and any company, frankly. That's your number one metric. Although we can talk about guest metrics, that's becoming, I think, elevated with any company right now and how important that is. So I think that would be one of the key learnings that I would put out there. What else is going on? I get a chance to pay attention to black box. I think we've all used that as a benchmarking tool, but they're bigger than that. Victor Fernandez, you know who he is. He's been their economist forever. You call there, he gets on a phone call with you, and we've been really talking about how do you make this industry, for lack of a better word, we need better PR, right? Those of us who are in it, we love it. We wouldn't want to do anything else. But people that are getting into this industry sometimes look at it as a stepping stone, right? Till I find something better, mom and dad. You know, I think when I gave I won the Distinguished Alumni Award at my university. So you have to give a speech to the graduates there as they're there. And I remember saying to the audience, as soon as you get home, you got your degree in your hand, your parents could say, okay, what are you going to do? Right. And I said to my parents, I'm going to work in a fast food restaurant.
You're going to do what?
Well, it was somewhat of that reaction, but I remember as I was through high school, and I've told this story before, but we grew up like a lot of folks that start out in the restaurant industry with little means, but good parents who make sure that you have a good education and you have a good drive and a good work ethic. And I remember at McDonald's, these young guys would come in a brand new company car, right? Our family had never had a company car. So my goal early on when I decided I was going to be in the restaurant business was to have a brand new car. And not to show you my age, but I want to tell you by 1980, Troy, I was driving a navy blue Buick Century. Brand new.
amazing.
Gold.
I thought it was going to be a Corvette, Karen. I got you as a Corvette gal, actually.
Well, my husband has one now, a
Yeah,
cherry bright red one sitting out there in the garage. So
there you go.
that was more his passion. But I think it was more just having something new like that. That was kind of a big deal to me. But the restaurant business has provided, means and experiences that I would have never ever imagined. But I've kind of gone astray once again. I think for me going in the industry right now and a passion of mine is just trying to figure out is how do we make this a career for people? I think the results that you see lately, retention or turnover is still over 110% for team members in the mid 40s for managers. That's just a lot of training over and over again. How do we capture that same spirit that we have about the industry to someone stepping into it? And I really try to observe that. And as I watch area directors, as I coach and mentor a lot of different people in the industry, the first thing I often notice is when they go into the restaurant, it's like, "Oh my god, I got so much work to do." And they start talking about the all of the negative things. And it's like, "Wait, if I'm sitting there as that manager, do I aspire to be you?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's really
That's a huge, huge issue. You see it all the
yeah.
time. Yeah.
It's gotta start with us. We have to talk about the great things about our job because honestly, there's so many great things. And if not, what are we doing to create a better environment? That starts with us.
If you're not a problem solver, if you don't get energy from tackling opportunities every day, the thing I think most of us are in this industry for and we get addicted to is that it's not the same thing every day. But if you focus on the things that are the same thing every day, I think that's what bogs people down mentally. Oh, the staff is late. Oh, the uniforms aren't pressed. Oh, that right. They
Yeah,
didn't
so
fill the
what?
salt shakers. If you just focus on those mundane, repetitive things that are always going to be a thing, I love the fact that for those of us that have a tremendous passion for this industry, it's the fact that if you walk in the door, you have a new opportunity. You probably have 20 new opportunities every day. And if you
Every
tackle
day.
those with passion and excitement as a challenge, then you're setting the tone, right? And I think what you're saying is so important is there's really a lack of leadership training, always has been, treating this as a profession where people have to be developed, invested in, and grown and given opportunity, right? And I think if we do that, if we approach it that way, ultimately we'll get a better return. We'll get less problems because more people that are passionate about solving these problems alongside of us. So yeah, I think you have to look at this as a this is hand to hand combat. You're doing it as a one person deal. You're going to be on an island by yourself. You
Yeah.
build a team and you build a bunch of people that are passionate about solving the same problems with you. Then you'll have less problems and it'll be a lot more fun, I think.
Yeah, so true. My kids are grown now, and I know you got little ones, but just watch when they enter the workforce. And as they come home and they start talking about their bosses, it's kind of eye-opening. And what I really learned too is that where my sons would come home and talk about this boss is so strict, or we have these goals for this day. They excelled. They flourished under those bosses. And the ones that were chaotic, you would hear them saying like, "Oh my gosh, all my friends are just giving away free." I'm like, "Oh my god, that's terrible. Don't you ever do that." And they said, "No, no, mom, we wouldn't do it." But it's just so interesting to see the lack of leadership once you witnessed it done well.
My wife got the opportunity to leave her career after 16 years as a very high level executive in the luxury hotel space.
Oh,
And last night, this is just contemporary conversation. Last night, she read something to me, and she didn't say who, what, where, from what, and she said, and she read this text from a friend or it's still in the industry, and said, Troy, what if I told you? And she just laid out this sort of nightmare scenario. And she said, if I told you all of these jobs were posted at this one hotel, exactly, right?
mhm.
Head this, head that, executive chef, head of housekeeping, head of this, head of that. I mean, the entire leadership was available, right? And
Yeah.
everything except for those top one or two positions was posted. And I looked at her and I go, babe, you know what I'm going to say? I've always said it. Whenever you came home with a headache or this happened or that happened or this didn't happen, it's always a lack of leadership. It starts at the top. It absolutely starts at the top. The tone is set, the strategy is set, the vision is set, the goals. Like, are we going 5 yards, 10 yards, 15, 20 yards? What are we doing here? Right. And there's no excuse. It starts at the top. And so I just think that, like you said, I've always treated it the same way, Karen. I had a turnaround management company for a long time. And so my life was walking into toxic hospitality environments and saying, all right, guys, I know you've been beat up. I know you've been treated terribly. I know you hate everybody. I know you know more than anybody above you. Got it. I understand. I know where you're coming from. let's talk about what you need. What do you want? What would get you excited?
So
And one of
true.
the things I've always started off with is I know you're not going to do this forever. I just make the assumption, right? Now, maybe 5 or 10% of them will stay in the hospitality industry, but I am so proud that many of them go off to be nurses and doctors and airline pilots and engineers and what incredible people, right? But I always make sure they understand you will learn something here if you want to learn something here that you can carry with your life. Every executive I've probably ever met, what was your first job? Oh, I was a busboy, a host, a hostess,
Yeah.
expo, food runner, whatever, right? We've almost all had a job in the restaurant industry, I would think. So it's a great training ground, whether you stay in hospitality as a profession or you go on to do other things. There's definitely lessons in this industry you can carry with you. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Honestly, I look back at, you know, early days of working at Wendy's and talking in a microphone, right? Just standing up there when you have to call out the orders. That's how long it's been. But things like that you learn, just customer service, dealing with a disgruntled, a guest over a $3 meal. It's kind of like, wow, how do I diffuse that? And I think there's so many life lessons that we learn in a restaurant, but ultimately too, and kind of going back to your original question with hospitality, I think one of the exercises that I've always done with team members is, whether it's a pre-shift or whatever, it's like, okay, let's name how many restaurants did you pass on the way to work, right? And let's say a couple of good things about them. Now, when that door opens, that guest had every opportunity to go to one of those restaurants. But you know what? They chose us. They chose us. So let's make sure that they know that we're going to make sure that who's ever in their party knows that they made the right choice. And it's got to be that level of mentality and excitement when a door opens, not like, oh my God, I've got all this stuff to do. It's like that door, that person that walks in. And I bring that up more so now than ever, Troy, because of third party delivery, right?
Yeah.
I'm willing to get off of my couch out in front of my TV and walk into your restaurant. When I'm the lowest priority, I don't feel good about that.
Right.
Right. And so I really think it's that constant training of when someone's there in front of you, they deserve your attention. And
Yes.
you got to remember, they chose us. And I don't know what it's like at your house too. It's like even now, Roger and I still go out to dinner a lot, and it'll be like, "What do you want to do for dinner?" I don't know. What do you want to do? No, you choose. No, I'll choose. But if they pick you, if they pick pepper lunch, right? It's like somebody you need to make sure that that decision maker is right, that they made a good call to go to your restaurant. And when you do that, they come back over and over and over again. So
Yeah, I love that. You gotta make the person who chose your spot the hero for doing it, right? They brought the spouse, they brought the family, brought the coworker, they
yeah,
brought the date, whatever they brought. Make them look good, right?
it,
They made a smart
yeah.
decision coming here, didn't they?
Yes,
Yeah, I
and
love that
look,
approach.
prices are so expensive. I think guest expectations are higher than ever right now.
They are. They are.
So, yeah, gotta get it right. But it all starts with that beginning, right?
Absolutely. Look, people like us in this industry. I had a conversation with somebody just a little while ago that was saying, I don't go out to eat as much. It's hard to go out to eat when you've been in this industry a long time. I don't. I love it. I love
Me
going out to
too.
eat. I go through these waves. I think we all do go through these phases where we're a little extra critical, a little extra. Oh, come on! They could just do it a little bit better. To just geez. Oh, the meal was perfect. Everything is great, and then they took too long to bring the check, right?
Oh,
Or they did everything amazing, but they didn't do that one last check in. For me, it's greeting and thanking the exit, right? So please welcome me and don't let me walk out don't let me have 4 or 5 hosts standing at at the podium
yes.
talking to each other, right? Polishing, rolling, stacking, whatever they're doing, wiping, whatever they're doing, and ignore me walk out the front door. Just
Ah,
say thanks, goodbye. Thanks, have a great day. You don't even have to say thanks for coming in. Like, just have
yeah,
a great day. See ya. Just acknowledge my exit from your space. And I just think,
exactly.
yeah, it's just a little bit of a lost art, I guess.
Mhm.
Particularly in fast casual QSR. At Pepper Lunch, and this is never an infomercial for Pepper Lunch, but we did something in January and we tested it till April and we rolled it out nationwide in April. We created a new position. We actually added a human being. We didn't replace the cashier. we reorganized our business and we actually added a sixth person to our business. And we know now that that added position has beyond paid for itself. We call it a hospitality host. Most people might think of it as a greeter or brand ambassador. It is both. And for us, I have to pound it every day. This is the most important person in the building. From 20 feet away, before the door ever opens, their face is seen. They have an opportunity to smile, be grateful, be glad to see this person, welcome them, ask them if they've been to Pepper Lunch before. Yeah, I come all the time. Oh, what do you normally like? Like engage with them authentically. Oh my gosh, what's your favorite dish? Oh, I usually get this, that, or the other. Well, cool. Have you ever added mushrooms? Oh my God, when you add mushrooms to a dish, or my favorite's the garlic chips. Add the garlic chips to everything. Great.
Yes.
You know, oh,
Yes.
you've never been here before? Oh, let me explain to you what Pepper Lunch is all about. We want you to understand what you're about to experience here, right? And we created this position and reorganized the entire front of the house so that we had time, we had opportunity to give more service, to be an elevated fast casual, to do what no other fast casual does, not do table touches and pre-bus things, authentically come around. We took the free pour soda machine away, put it behind the counter, not because we didn't want people just drinking as much soda as they want. It's 40 cents. Who cares how much they drink? We wanted to create an opportunity for our employees to refill your beverage, stop at your table, show you some hospitality. So,
I love it.
pretty unusual, right? Adding labor to my business. Our average checks have gone up $5.50 by adding a kiosk. Our ordering went from cross the counter transaction, typical ordering, to kiosk only with a hospitality host greeter who's welcoming you and answering questions and guiding you. And our check went up $5.58. And our consumer scores, like you referenced earlier, have gone through the roof dramatically. And it was like overnight. Like, I'm not joking. It was 30 days in this started happening. So I love your approach. It's just get back to the basics of hospitality, humanize our industry, give young people a chance to excel, and make sure they know that their job is incredibly important to the success of your business.
Yeah, I think it's great what you're doing. It's similar to what Hawaiian Roads is doing as well. And Cameron, but they kind of done the same thing. It just high touch, right? And high tech aren't mutually exclusive. And I love the idea that we can take some of the tougher jobs away that people don't love doing in the industry and get them to be able to have that opportunity to focus on the guests, just like you're doing. Make them, that's hospitality, right? And it's best. And
Carin, if you don't use high touch and high tech are not mutually exclusive as the keynote title of your next keynote at the biggest conference this year, I'm going to steal it. I'm telling you right now. And I'm going to say, Carin said, and this is what we're trying to say. I love that. That's a great, you didn't do it on purpose. That was a great tagline because it is true. I mean, we're all trying to think about how do we make this high tech absorption in our industry, this adoption and utilization of technology. How do we make it more hospitable? How do you make 35% of your orders going out the door for delivery hospitable, right? And I think there's a lot of analog, old-fashioned, easy ideas that can make that work. We're actually about to shoot a series of videos. We just talked about it yesterday. Shoot a series of videos from me to our guests based on their frequency, their volume, their spend. I want to recognize our guests for their loyalty and their fandom of our brand. Super easy. You shoot a bunch of videos, you put a QR code, stick it in the bag. I really want to take a moment and say thank you. It's not that hard. Carin, let's talk about the future. What are you excited about in our industry? What's coming next? What are you thinking about? What are you seeing when you're out at these conferences that you're looking at and saying, now that makes sense. I really like that. That's going to have an impact. What are you excited about with the future of our industry now looking forward?
gosh, first of all, I want to say this next generation of leaders, I think that they are stepping into the industry with a new level of energy. And, again, maybe we just talked about that high tech and high touch. They can deliver it, right? They've grown up with the technology that at least, that I did not necessarily grow up with. And I think they're gonna bring that uniqueness, whether, like I said, it's being willing to try different, things with AI, with technology, with ordering, but they have the ability to make guests feel okay about it as well, right? So I think first and foremost, I'm just excited about these new leaders. I'm in a position with Gleam, you know about Gleam, and you've been a a great supporter and contributor. So we're thankful for that. But I get to mentor a lot of these younger, up and coming leaders, and just to see the enthusiasm and their willingness to try to figure out, what's coming next is really exciting for me. I also think that it's going to be probably maybe the year of the franchisee. It's been so interesting to watch the dynamics between franchisors and franchisees. And at the end of the day, as I look back over my career, franchisees own your brand. Whether you like it or not, they are the owners of your brand. We executives come and go. You heard the number of companies that I worked for. And trust me, when I was there, I gave it everything that I had. But I didn't make that full time lifestyle commitment that I was single handedly going to put all of my finances into your brand. And that's what our franchisees do. And so I think number one, it's respecting the franchisees and giving them. I always say to them, "You have a voice, not a vote," and I think that's okay because that ultimately they will all come with a lot of different ideas. But I do think we're going to see a bigger respect for the franchise community, and so I welcome that as well. That would be a couple of things that I would say off the top of my mind. I know a little different than probably what we normally talk about,
No,
but
you look, I love it. I agree. I'll go backwards. The franchisee thing, it's hard. You're balancing the mandates from above and the goals that are being set with the reality on the ground. And like anything, you have to get your franchisees on board. You have to get buy-in. They have to have belief, and they have to have, they have to support you. And that's a delicate dance, and it doesn't always line up. And every franchisee group, and we work with only large multi-unit groups, they have their own goals and their own ambitions and their own beliefs of how things can achieve their goals and your goals collectively, right? But we're inextricably connected. So I agree. I might be a little unique in that I tend to over index on the franchisee side, but it's about balance. What is the balance between the guest, the brand's guest, the people we're serving in the stores, the franchisees and their employees, which are very, very, very important to consider. That entire ecosystem as a franchisee includes all of their employees, and then the franchisors' mission, goals, visions, and things of that nature. It is something that has to be really maintained in a balance. I agree with you what you said about franchisees and the focus and the care, and maybe them taking back a little bit of power in some respects. It just has to be balanced. And when it's out of balance, you hear the horror stories, you see the executives walk out, get walked out the door. And you see even worse now with lawsuits, obviously, and these kinds of things.
yeah, you definitely seen that. But look, I love working for a company that's got skin in the game, right? Because then when a franchisee signs up for your brand, they're not signing up for it to say, "Hey, I'm going to reinvent this entire thing." They're buying it because they like the brand, right? They like the operations, they like the systems, and they like the management team, right? You're buying into all of those things. You're hoping to go in and have smooth sailing with someone else doing the thinking. And I'm just going to execute this and I'm going to have a great lifestyle and a livelihood for my family. But then we have an obligation not to screw that up, right? And as long as we don't, I find franchisees to be very, very supportive. They always have you never know what hat they're gonna wear, the parent, the child, whatever, and they get to do that. But overall, if we run a great brand, they will follow suit, and 95 to 99% of your franchisees will be absolutely delightful to work with. And of course, a happy franchisee is a growing franchisee. They're gonna build your brand.
If your franchisees are coming up with ideas and they're doing things in their store, whether that's with their staff or with their customer or with their marketing, that's an engaged franchisee. That's somebody who cares. That's somebody who is invested in your brand. I think that's the person that most franchisors kind of roll their eyes at. Oh, here comes another idea. Yes, be grateful, because the
Yeah,
best ideas in the entire franchise world, especially the restaurant world, came from the franchisees. Guys, the Big Mac, the Blizzard, it goes on and on. Just
it
about
does.
every iconic food item you've ever thought of, much of the technology, much of the systems and processes around better drive-through and kiosk and all these kinds of things. franchisees came up with most of those ideas or drove most of those ideas. So I would agree. Karen, you said something at the beginning I don't want to miss out on because I've had a long time passion about young emerging leadership and especially entrepreneurship in our space. From 2015 to 2023, me and my firm only focused on the emerging brand builder, whether there was franchise bound or corporate or a mixed model of some kind. But the franchise, the emerging restaurant brand founder or founder group, and I can only concur with you as loud as possible. If you, especially any of us at this executive level of these larger, mid-sized to larger enterprise brands, if you, I'd say if you're over 50 units in the executive suite of any brand, make sure to go out of your way and find groups of these people. Get around the 5 or 15, 10 unit emerging brand passionate brand creator and builder, because that is where the energy is. That's where the ideas are. That's where the challenge to the norms are happening, right? They're not doing it the same way we grew up doing it. And as innovative as you and I are still looking forward, we all carry some weight, some baggage, some tried and true
Absolutely.
foundational comforts that we don't want to let go of. And some of these folks are out here creating much bigger businesses, much faster. They're much closer to their customer. Cameron at Hawaiian Bros, I will call him out as well. I met him the first time I shared the stage with him at RLC this year, and we've stayed in touch, had him on the show. We've talked, we're in a networking group or a mastermind type group together. I, he's so impressive. He's doing things nobody's ever done in this industry. Every single employee at Hawaiian Bros, every full-time employee, every HQ employee has fully paid healthcare benefits, fully paid, not 80/20, not 70/30, not 90/10. So who in the restaurant industry would have ever thought that we could do that? Well, that's just math. He has decided, and the team has decided that that is a benefit that matters more to the team than whatever else, right? Than the holiday party or the gifts or the bonuses. This is what matters to my employees and the families of my employees, and we're going to figure out a way to math that. And in his mind, the ROI is pretty obvious, but to most people, they wouldn't take that risk to wait for this ROI. What's the ROI? Higher productivity, higher retention, greater resilience, more collaboration, happier employees. What
Yeah.
happens? You build a better brand faster that has a stronger foundation. So I want to
Yes.
concur with you on that young leadership in our industry. We all need to spend time with them just to reinvigorate ourselves, right? Just to get new ideas, just to be challenged on our norms.
Absolutely. Well said, Troy. Very well said. I do serve on the board with Hawaiian Broad, so I should disclose that. But, they also do a leadership profile on every team member as well. So you get to learn about your strengths and how you're wired and how you're going to interact with one another at an entry level, team member level. Nobody's doing that.
That's
So,
incredible. I didn't know it
yeah.
was all the way down to entry level. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yep, he's really taken a different approach to the restaurant space.
There's mine, insights. If you want
Oh,
to, this is all you ever need to know. And go over to YouTube and check this out. I am showing you what Troy Hooper is in the primary color block. And isn't it interesting? It's not vertical. It's got a little bit of shared
yeah,
between the red and the blue here. And look, whether you do insights or disc or Myers Briggs or any of these other systems, what you're talking about, it really gives us a language. It gives us an understanding of each other. If I understand, if you know what this means when you come into my office or you talk to me on Zoom or we're going to have a meeting, if you know that Troy's a collaborator who needs to collect details but make decisions decisively and don't lead with emotion. I'm a very sentimental, very empathetic person, but don't walk in the room with I'm mad, Susie's a bitch,
yeah,
Come in and say, "Hey, I need your perspective, your help. I'm having a communication issue with Susie. I don't understand where she's coming from." Well, did you know that Susie leads with leads with emotion
love it.
because this is her personality, right? And this is how she processes and comes to the table. So we have to appreciate that. We have to honor that, right? So
I
I just
love
think
that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty unique. I'm glad you referenced that because I think
Yeah.
that again, another unique opportunity to think about people first in our industry.
I coach that a lot, just, especially with executives, speaking headlines, right? Back it up with one or two data points and then have the conversation, right? And it changes the way people think about you as well. And I think that's really important. So, and again, maybe that's where the financial part starts to move in as well. I guess wish maybe earlier on that I had learned financial skills, and because I think, the earlier you learn them, I think, obviously if you're a restaurant operator, you learn the P&L, right? But you never see the balance sheet. You never see this statement of cash flow, right? Those things in partnership tell a real story about every restaurant.
Most GMs don't.
I
The
know.
owners and the leadership don't share it with the GMs. The GMs get a redacted high level. These are the 5 KPIs we want you to see, and the only ones we want you to care about, right?
Right. Right.
And they don't get that education. To your point,
That is true. But if you look at that profit line, and then you could say, wait, if I looked at the statement of cash flow, if I just looked at the first part of it, I would simply say were we profitable? How much money did we make? Second section of it, what did we do with it? How did we spend it? Right? And lastly is, well, if we spent more than that, where else did we get the money? Did we borrow it? Did we go to the market? And I think just looking at those stories, when you start to look at some of the different companies out there, look, we've seen a lot of bankruptcies this past year, right? And when you kind of go through those just statements, they simply tell a story. And I think when I tried to learn finance, boy, it sounds silly, but I started a finance club for lack of a better way to do it, because I wasn't getting exposure to the finance people in the company. But once I started that, I found that they were equally interested in learning as well. And we had one thing that we had to do. They had come with the answer to this question: if you were the CEO or CFO of the company, what would you do with the cash? And it's so interesting to see how those decisions have been made, and a lot of things in the rear view mirror don't look like they were such good calls, but I'm always proud when I see that the initial investment and most of the investment is going into growing the brand. And typically that's what pays off.
yeah, I think a lot of in a lot of the bankruptcies you see are in some are in part for brands that just were abandoned and allowed to die on the vine and never had that they haven't had that invigorating investment and attention. They've been basically just drained for a number of years. A lot of them are, to your point on the finance side, bad decisions on the cash. I mean, they got over leveraged, right? They borrowed too much to grow too fast. They had this big thing in front of them they wanted to do, and they over leveraged. Or, in the case of Red Lobster, a lot of people don't know that they simply sold the land and the buildings, or
Immediately.
the land out from under the buildings. And they're in doing that, they leased them back, and their lease was multi X. I don't know if it was 3 or 4 X what the nut was to pay for the mortgage, or they were paid off. They started paying rent on land they already owned, but they just wanted to cash that cash out. And after a number of years, that bubble caught up with them, right? That it
Sure.
was a house of cards, and caught with them. There's so many mechanics to that, and
Yeah.
and most of the people in our industry have no say in that, right? There's one or two or three or a board somewhere making some decisions, and we have to do our best to work around those challenges. But
Yeah, anytime I hear sale leaseback in a boardroom, my ears perk up. I'm like, we really do, are we that desperate for cash? Right?
right, right.
Because yeah,
Or do we really have to grow that fast, right?
yeah, it never turns out well.
Carin, tell us a little bit about what you're doing, what you're working on. You alluded to it there. You're coaching quite a lot. You're talking a lot about finance, and you're doing a lot of finance education to leaders in this industry. And besides that, and of course, your nonprofit work with Gleam. Share a little bit about what you're up to today and what you want people to know about.
Yeah, well, obviously, I would say I'm in my give back years. I think Greg Flynn said it at one time. You give your learning years, your earning years, and I just add my give back, or some people say returning years. And that's what I'm trying to do now. I think if there's any, opportunity to leave a legacy that makes the industry better, that was so good to me, I have an obligation to do that. And I have a passion to do it as well. So obviously, I serve on my university board. I'm on 7 nonprofits, which simply means I can't say no. And I'm on 2 restaurant boards, Wine Bros and Kura Revolving Sushi Bar. I'm so proud of the work that we're doing with Gleam. And again, Gleam Network is the overall umbrella of a nonprofit, 100% volunteer. So every cent that we raise goes to helping someone in the industry. Simply three programs. We pair mentors and mentees. We paired over 600 mentors and mentees to work on one big thing that you feel that will help you move further in your career. Secondly, we do the lead events. I know you've been part of the lead events, Troy, and that's an in-person thing. I can remember working at a restaurant early on in my career, it'd be 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm scrubbing floors and I'm thinking, seriously, no one even knows I'm here. No one even cares that I'm here. Well, I think you get into a lead event and you hear someone like yourself, a CEO that starts early on in their career, just
I
like,
was a busboy.
and now you're a CEO of a company that they see the pathway to get there. They see that Hooper is approachable, right? They see the Jack Gibbons, the Emily Knight Williams, the Amy Homs that you talked about, Jeff Alexander, Greg Majewski, everyone is so played over. They're so willing to step up and tell their story. And then you get notes from people that said, oh my gosh, I never knew it was a career like this. I can see myself doing that. So we love doing that. We're doing podcasts that are designed for the general manager to have everybody listen to before their leadership meeting for the week. And then they have a discussion about it. So there's a way for them to develop their own team that's very, very simple. Again, very focused on that entry level emerging leader. And then obviously the last thing we're doing is CAP. It's a career advancement program. It's a 9-week boot camp where we take hourly team members and prepare them for a management role. We have several brands right now that are using it exclusively for their development. It is such a great program designed by 7 outstanding vice presidents with that leadership and development roles in major companies. And it's all incredibly affordable. And we raise enough money that if someone can't do it, we provide a way for them to participate at no cost at all. So it feels so good to see our industry grow and get better.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. First of all, let me just say on behalf of all of us, thank you. Because no doubt one day I will hire somebody who went through one of these programs, right? And that's the goal. That's the
Absolutely.
opportunity. And we want to pair people that recognize the value in that with as leaders to those emerging leaders. Yeah, just will say that I am participating in a lead event this year. Speaking is not the right term. I am participating. I'm just one of the participants from this seat to bring that perspective to the conversation in that environment. And I'm absolutely ecstatic. I'm super humbled and really, really excited. I really, it's the thing I think I look forward to most this year. Don't tell all the other conferences and things. That's my passion, my background is building emerging brands, emerging teams, and leadership development from the ground up. So I'm really excited to do that, and I'm just grateful that you're leading in that space and providing that type of programming through this nonprofit. So if you're listening to this and you're in the industry and you have the haves or your company has the opportunity, I would encourage you to look up the Gleam Network and reach out to Carin or Amy Hom and others can share their story and get you connected to participate and make a difference and make a donation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your support.
Carin Stutz, we're recording this just before the holidays, so happy holidays to you. Most everybody will listen to this in the new year. In 2026, we'll just kind of be getting off the ground. We'll start coming out of our caves and shaking off the hibernation and the holiday glee, and we'll be getting started in 2026. Leave us with one thought, one piece of advice or a tip or something for 2026 to kick us off.
Oh, wow. I would just simply say, once again, from where I talked about previously, let's do our part to speak with pride about the industry, about how great this industry is, and that it can be a wonderful career. Like I said, I can't imagine in my lifetime I would have ever done anything differently than this. It has been. I would just simply say, I am the American dream.
Carin, you are an absolute gem. You're incredibly humble. You're incredibly approachable. If anybody wants to talk to the former COO and president of just about every brand you've ever cared about, thought about, or experienced, Carin is easy to find, and she's So glad. I just seen her do it everywhere we go. So seek her out at the conferences, seek her out through the Gleam Network, participate. I love it. Get involved. And thank you again, Carin, for being on the show.
That's a delight. Thank you, Troy. Happy holidays and Happy New Year.
Thank you for listening to The Pineapple Perspective. If you loved today's episode, leave a review and a 5-star rating. I look forward to welcoming you back next time.